And the noise getting louder as if somebody standing next to you, shouting to you and say, don't, go back.
So, good evening and good night, and thanks for joining us. This is a terrifying incident, horrible experience for foreigners who plan a pleasant jungle trekking or trekking to a mountain site. So, Ashura, please tell us what was the experience and how significant is this impact, and it seems to be evil around the journey.
So this is a story about the dead mountaineers or Sherpas. So this is a story from Nepal, how the people who go for this mountain, trekking, and when they die there, it's a ritual that you don't bring them back. Their body, their soul belong to the mountain. So this is where the story starts. So according to this story this is a Sherpa from Nepal. He shared this story with me many years ago.
So Sherpas is the people who guide the visitors and tourists going to base camp or the Mount Everest?
All the way to Mount Everest. These Sherpas have been on this trek for many times. Some even climbed up to 5-6 times, so they know. Of course, now this is as a spot. People travel there just for hiking. The most easiest is base camp. I mean, not to say for a lot of climbers, base camp is much easier. It will take nothing less than 10 to 15 days. Some trekkings are 8 days, some even 15, 20 days, depending on how fast you can travel. So according to the story of the Sherpas is, a lot of these people, when you go trekking or to mountain climbing, some don't make it. Most of them don't make it on the way back, not necessarily on the way up, because the weather at the mountains will change very fast. So what happened when they come back, on the way back, a lot of them would have slept and they die. And you're not allowed to bring back this body. This is something those people are going for the mountain, they must agree and sign and they release. So you are left there. So what happens is, as the Sherpas go again to the same route, these spirits, the dead people, they will come. They will sometimes guide them, sometimes they will misguide them. So according to this story is, this group of young trekkers, they had a Sherpa who is not very experienced, because Sherpas also, some could be experienced one will cost you more, the not so experienced will cost less. So because of budget reasons, sometimes they'll go for the cheaper ones, people who've been there only once, twice. So while these people was following this particular Sherpa, they were going to one of the trekkings. Suddenly they feel someone following them and telling them to go on a different route. And all of them, when they turn back, they don't see faces and everything, but they can feel someone, because they go on a line. Someone behind them, no, you turn this way, you turn this way. So this is happening. So the first day, they decided to follow, and they found they kind of lost. But luckily, they managed to come back to base camp. Then at night, the entire base camp, even though the weather that night wasn't was cold, but of course wasn't windy and everything, they had disturbance, sounds, sound from outside. like shouting sounds, like a blizzard sound. But even it was windy. It wasn't windy at all. So the Sherpas then came out to see why this unusual experience. Another thing, before they start this journey, there is a ceremony the Sherpas will do. They call it the mountain puja. They must get the blessings. They must get the blessings or some kind, in Malay they call petunjuk. Okay, yes. So in this particular group, okay, about I don't know exactly the number of travelers there, followed by these young Sherpas. There are only a few Sherpas following them. Most of the Sherpas are not necessarily have a big guide. They are probably just carrier. They'll carry bags and everything, but they always have a leader who knows. So this troop, okay, not very experienced, but they were leading a small pack of foreigners to go to the mountain. So when they did puja the day before, they didn't get the blessing. So the Sherpa was telling the group, look, you have to wait one more day because we still not got a blessing, you have to wait. But foreigners don't believe all this. For them, look, it's nice weather, it's sunny, we want to go there fast and come back, we don't have time, So they were rushing. Then second day they did the puja also. These rituals are very important. The Sherpas really believe these rituals. Again, second day when they did this ritual, they didn't get the blessing also. So they said, no, you have to wait some more. But unfortunately, the foreigners were very impatient. They said, look, if you're still going to wait, then we're going to change the Sherpa. We'll find somebody else. Forget about the whole trip. So reluctantly, the Sherpa agreed to go, okay, knowing that something bad going to happen in his back of mind. So even his own team, some of them pulled out and said, look, until we get the mountain god's approval, we don't want to follow this. But some, due to financial reason, they decided to go. So that was actually the story behind it. Why, when they were traveling, they had this problem. So when he rode back, they said, because they didn't get the blessings. So on the first day night, they can feel so much of disturbance and everything. And second day, as they start trekking, one of the team member, okay, got injured. So he couldn't continue. So the Sherpa, one of the Sherpas have to carry him back. Okay. So this time the head of Sherpa said, look, we should have waited for the blessing, but looks like this injury is happening. But again, the group that came, they said, look, this is mountain trekking, this is bound to happen. We should continue. I mean, this is not a child play, we should go. So reluctantly, the Sherpas continued their journey. Again, second day, at that night, suddenly in the middle of night, okay, the tent flew. The tent they are staying, one of the tent, the most was, actually everybody will share, sometimes mostly in a tent will be two people maximum, some could be a single. So one of the tent where they put the food and everything, flew, except other tents. So when you woke up in the day, the whatever things they brought was all over the place. So the Sherpa was again not feeling that great. He told, we should not continue, we should come back. But again, the mountaineers say, look, we made because see they had some kind of sponsor. They said we have to complete this mission. We cannot come back. We have to go, and they continue. So as they go on the third day, halfway they are coming. I mean, after the base camp. So they see to come to Mount Everest, there are few camps they must come, and these camps are more of a place where I was told doesn't have a lot of things. Some places got helipads in case of emergency. For them to carry them back. Those who are alive. If you are dead, of course they won't carry you back. Okay, they leave it behind. So when you reach that place, the whole camp, you cannot see. Such a strong wind was coming that area. See, it was a sunny day in the day. Suddenly in the evening, it started to become strong wind and everything. They all got stranded. All of them got stranded. Okay, and total no communication. Okay. And that night, okay, first no communication, they lost most of the food, and the wind was very strong, okay, and the Sherpa made a call, no, they have to come back. They're not going to continue, and if they still insist on continue, the Sherpa can make the call, because end of the day in this trip, Sherpa has a very big say, so they said, no, we're not going to continue, we're going to come back. That night, you know, they will all stay at the camp. At night, they can see things are glowing around them, you know, like some, you know, like see when if you can take picture of spirits with a high lens cameras. So when you took the camera and took picture in the pitch dark, they can see spots of bubbles. They call energy bubbles. It is all concentrated near the camp, around the camp. Okay, and you can hear voices, you know, voices of foreigners, and not necessarily foreigners means one particular. There are Europeans, there are Japanese, there are Koreans, so many, and all of them talking, and it's getting louder and louder. In other words, they're like chasing them away. Don't come, go, don't come back, leave. That kind of fear. See, the Sherpas never had this kind of fear. This is a journey they've been many times. Even though this Sherpa is young and not many experience, but he have done jungle trekking. But he himself was so scared. He was so scared that he started to shiver, you know, because you feel, you know, it's like, and the noise getting louder, as if somebody standing next to you, shouting to you and say, don't go back. If you go, you will die, you know, and you're not going to be alive. It's kind of warning, you know. You know, what was good thing is, they decided to come back. There's an argument, a commotion happened the next morning. The Sherpa made a call on the third day, no, we're not going to pursue, they'll come back. So on the way back, there was another group passing them, you know. Okay, they were going there. So they shared this experience, but that group said, it's okay. Yeah, we are very much okay to go. And they went. 2 days later, they come back to base camp, and they heard the team have just passed by and went. Everyone, including the Sherpa, died. So big storm came, some kind of avalanche came, and everybody died. So the Sherpa was saying he was so thankful, even though it was a scary experience, okay, but because for him, since he didn't get the blessing, he was half-hearted. He decided to abandon the expedition just because the scary night on the third day, and that saved everyone. He said if they continued, all of them would have died. Every single one of them.
Was this Sherpa somebody you met?
Yeah, this Sherpa is someone I met. Of course, this happened when he was young. So when he was telling the story, he was very much in his late 40s. Okay, so according to him, this incident happened sometime early 80s. Okay, 1980s, this thing happened. At that time, not so much regulations and everything, but this was his experience. He said he was close to death. Okay, so that's why he said when you go for all this trekking, the spirits are there. You must get the approval of the spirits, you know, and that's why they call the mountain god. Okay, and the bodies, if they find the bodies, they will put rock around the bodies, and they will never bring them back, because they are, as I said earlier, belong to the mountain. The soul will be there. So in this case, it might sound scary, but it was that soul, those Sherpas, the people that died at the mountain, is the one that helped them and prevented them from continue this expedition and saved everyone. So was his experience that he shared. Okay, so, and also the importance of the prayers and get the blessing of the mountain god. And till today, they still very much believe before the trip, they will do these prayers only upon getting the blessing from the monks who will bless them for the trip. Once they get the blessing, then only the expedition starts.
How do they know whether they've gotten the blessing?
See, when they do these prayers and they do offerings, and usually there are monks will be seated there, they will do all the chanting. The monks will do some kind of, I don't know exactly what, they do some bits, they throw the bits and everything. The bits will tell. So they have a calculation on the bits. So there are a few varieties. Some they put bits, some they put scrolls and stuff like that. Or some even put flour. So depend on the monk. So once they get the blessing, see, then only they will get it. And everybody that in the expedition must take the blessing. Okay? So that's how they do. So the blessing must come. And the monks is the one who do these prayers. And the other thing is they always write, if you happen to go to this mountain climbing, especially in Himalaya range and everything, you can see they tie all the scriptures written, the long string, like as if they are what do you call it?
They are prayer flags.
Yeah, flags. Okay, so they write everything. So and they will write the names and everything, asking for blessing, asking for guidance and everything. And it's still been practiced till today. So they said the mountain is very much alive. It only allows you people that he wants them to come. If it doesn't allow you to come, you are not allowed to go. If even you go, you won't come back. So that's how the story. Now, whether the story is how real, I don't know. But as I shared with you, not many people will be alive to come back, because the journey to these mountains, climbing up is of course difficult, but not as dangerous as you coming down. More people die on the way down compared on the way up.
Is that a fact? Did you check that?
Yeah, it's a fact also. Okay, I did some search thing. It's very much fact. They say because apparently the weather changes very fast. Within minutes, things will change.
You go back.
This is Sherpas, the dead Sherpa stories. Okay, so maybe those who came could be the Sherpas, or guiding them not to go, or this could be some good spirit there who helped them not to go. However, this has saved everyone. Not a single person died in this expedition, even though it was not complete.
Good, Ashura. That kind of this is a real story, I guess. It's real scenario, real experience. People tend to experience this. See, it's real in a way that people died, left the body. They did not complete the full funeral there. So every soul and body, it deserves the fulfillment of ceremonies. So when the people don't practice, when they didn't do it properly, obviously, whatever stays in the mind when he is dead, that usually will be, come out in a different form of, in a different dimension. And some of visitors, tourists who experience this, it's so obvious that they're going to experience this. And there's going to be many, many other stories, which I think, Ashura, you should keep an eye on this. You can share more other experience of other tourists out there. Okay. A good evening, and this is terrifying for whoever planned to trekking to Mount Everest or base camp, I guess. And a good evening.
The night is still alive.